dime that I want to marry her in Vegas.
Nice.
She's gonna hate. Well, she's
You
gonna
know,
hate that, but
we're actually live right now. So
we are. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Well, I
you
guess.
just dropped that little dime.
Yeah, she's gonna be. It's okay. We've talked about eloping. But I need to buy. I need to buy a ring first. So, do you guys want to hear how I'm gonna propose to her?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the. I've been doing some character work. Let me just warm up my voice. Okay. It's loose, loose, loose. Uh, excuse me, Miss Ansley, Miss Ansley. Would you do me the honor of giving your hand in marriage to this dandy fop? You are my Southern belle.
You sound like who's the guy Frank Underwood. Do you know who Frank
Yeah,
Underwood is?
that's
I was
exactly what I'm going for.
I was actually thinking of the chicken from
Oh, you Foghorn Leghorn?
yeah, Foghorn Leghorn or the
Yeah,
Brack Show.
yeah, it's a little bit like that. I also kind of, if you've seen the remake of The Magnificent Seven, I'm going for Ethan Hawke from that. It's a good watch. But he
It's not
plays a
bad.
man. He plays a man named Goodnight Robichaux, and he is very well spoken, and he is from Louisiana. Has a gay. He has a little Chinese friend who I think sucks his dick. Not to get vulgar, my mother always told me never to use those words.
And we're canceled.
Once I start talking like that, I can't stop. Bad.
Let me fill up my water. I'll be right back. 1
All
second.
right, cool.
So, are you
Honestly,
excited for
no,
today's episode, Max?
I'm excited. I'm excited to move on from the Beastie Boys because we've been stuck on it for like a year.
Actually, technically, yes, because we had the fucking we had
The hiatus.
the hiatus.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, you guys are getting some pretty good views though, you know.
That's good.
And I have a plan in on Jeep Safari Week on how to promote our podcast. So
Nice.
on Tinder, I put in you remember my Tinder profile?
Tinder. Okay.
Well, I changed the Stone Gauntlet to Crook and Murder.
Yeah.
And in Jeep Safari Week, we have a whole bunch of people that show up, and uh, they just like hundreds of people go through this town. So I'm gonna go in there, and I'm just gonna start swiping right. And so, and and what I'm hoping for is that they're gonna read my profile and be like, "Oh, Crook and Murder, let me go check that out." And then whether or not they swipe right or not, that's
They're gonna see it. They're gonna see it no matter what.
immaterial. Yeah, and they're gonna
Yeah.
take it home across the country.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's genius
That's
marketing.
fucking. That is genius. I love it. If you meet any of them, do that whole thing where you like grab their phone and subscribe for them.
Oh yeah, I'll be like, hey, this is the greatest date I've ever been on. Let me see your phone.
Fuck yeah. You know, if we go to DEF CON, we can promote it there too.
Oh, 100%. We'll get a booth.
Oh,
All right, you guys are up.
fuck it. All right. Welcome to My Brain is Hanging Upside Down. Episode 7, I think. I don't know. We're doing Beastie Boys Part 2. My name is Maxwell Murder. This is Josh.
What's up, guys?
So we are down a Taylor, but that's okay. We didn't need him anyways. But so yeah, I think we left off on ill communication, which I think was their best album. I know a lot of people like Intergalactic. But I mean, so basically, I think we were discussing this beforehand that we're probably not going to do too much on the Beastie Boys because their career after Intergalactic, I mean, it was pretty good. They did a lot of tours, did a lot of festivals. But the albums that came out after that, I think the only one that I can remember off the top of my head is To the Five Boroughs. I don't know about, or I guess there's some other. There was an interesting one that came out. I don't know. The Hot Sauce Committee Party, Part 2.
Yeah, and that was yeah. What was that? The one with like Intergalactic and everything, or that was?
No, that was their last.
That was
one.
Hello Nasty, right? Yeah,
Hello
gotcha.
Nasty. I kept saying Intergalactic.
Yeah.
I meant Hello Nasty. Yeah, that's
Right.
the album name is Hello Nasty. So the boys themselves said that Hello Nasty was their favorite album to do in the doc. And hey, just real quick, Ainsley's asking why there's no video for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
so
that's
I
an
just
issue.
realized I switched it over.
Oh, okay.
Luckily, this is the fucking what's that? A sound
This is
platform.
a podcast. I mean, like, there's only a couple people tuning in live, so.
True. Thanks to all our YouTube viewers out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Hit that like and mash that subscribe.
We will play for the audience that shows up. So yeah, mash that subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, Josh. This came out like, I mean, it came out. How old are you? I forget.
I'll be 38 next Friday.
Okay, so you're like 2 years younger than me. I remember that this album got played at like every fucking house party I went to.
Yeah.
Like when it came out, it's a good party album, you know? Like I actually can't think. Yeah.
I used to listen to Intergalactic when it came out pretty much nonstop because it was played on the radio a lot. But
yeah, it was.
I remember I was still so it came out when I was just beginning to get into high school. Actually, I think I was still in 8th grade.
Okay.
So I was still riding, like I didn't have my driver's license. I was still taking a bus to school, and I just have vivid memories. Actually, about 2 blocks up the street from where I currently live, there's this hill where I would sit and wait for the bus, and I just remember, like whenever I hear that song, it takes me back to that place.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of Beastie Boys songs kind of take me back to like when I used to listen to them, you know? I was listening to Ill Communication recently, and then I was listening to their hardcore EP Aglio Olio, which like totally brings me back to like we used to drive like my buddies and I, like there's not a lot to do in Sonoma County, so we used to drive around the country a lot and just kind of like bump music. And it just reminded me of this. Like we used to make what was the name of that road? There was this road that was like that cut from like the small town of Sebastopol all the way down to Bodega, like where the beach is and the cliffs and stuff on the northern Pacific. And I think it was actually through like some private land. It was a weird road. We also used to shoot up there too, but like it just reminds me of driving that road like super fucking fast in my buddy's 1973 BMW 2002.
For some reason, I thought you were gonna say Camaro. I don't know why.
Man, oh god, none of my friends had any cool cars like that. I mean, it's like Cassidy's 02 was like we all put a lot of work into that car, and it was like for some reason when I think about the Beastie Boys, I actually think about that car because it just like if you've never seen a BMW 2002, it's not the year, that's the model. It was a 1973.
Right.
They're like these little 2 doors with like a little, 4-cylinder engine.
The little like 2 little squares on the front,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
Like the front is actually like the grill is iconic.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, he had that forever, and he sold it I think about a decade ago, which sucked. But like that was his car, and we used to roll in that thing all the time, and like 4 or 5 of us, and that's not a big car. But no, my friends had like my friend Robin had a. My dad described his yard as a used VW lot because he lived in the country and they had just like his dad was like a tinkerer and he'd buy like just VWs, like a bunch of VWs and a land and actually a 2-door 3-speed land cruiser which we got running once. Um and multiple VW buses, one of which was a Safari edition with 22 windows, 19 windows, something like that. None of these like the VW didn't have a clutch. So like you just had to like roll it and put it into first gear and then just shift hard.
That's so funny that you say that because right around this time, in the mid '90s, when Ill Communication was out and Check Your Head, my dad had a Volkswagen Beetle and it didn't have a clutch in it, and I remember, and it had a hole in the floorboard, and I remember him fucking pushing this thing down the hill and popping it into first gear, just like that.
Why do I think of a hole in the floorboard every single time I think of a VW?
I know, maybe that's like.
No, it's common.
Common,
VWs.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something about I don't know, like all those old cars definitely remind me of like Beastie Boys. And that time, like there were 2 records that I could go to a party around 1998, 1999 that I knew were gonna play, and that was Hello Nasty and Lauryn Hill. I can't remember the name of the album. Yeah, like those 2 albums, like in Northern California, were fucking huge. And I can kind of get down with the Lauryn Hill album, but like,
Ready or Not, Here I Come. That
exactly. Yeah. Or maybe that was the Fugees. I don't know.
Oh, that was the Fugees. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of. With Wyclef.
Yeah, she had a solo album that came out that like just got bumped to every fucking party, and I still have this problem to this day that like I can't like my party music is limited.
Yeah,
because like it's a little offensive, or not even offensive. You just can't get down with like hardcore punk rock. So like my party music is like reggae.
Right.
Honestly, my party music is Aaron Carter's House Party. And it's Friday on loop.
He's dead. How dare you?
I know, it's actually pretty sad now to do it. I just put it on and stare at everyone at the party and judge them.
Man, we're gonna get canceled. I might as well just do the rest of this podcast very slowly and southernly as a dandy fop. No, I'm not gonna do that. Back to Beastie Boys. I saw them live around this time, and with Weezer, which was a pretty good show.
Out in California.
Yep. Where was it? I want to say the Fillmore, maybe in San Francisco, or no, maybe it was bigger. I think it may have been the Oakland Coliseum. So Weezer was like, it was when they were going through their Beverly Hills phase, which I actually really don't like that song. Do you remember that song?
Yeah, was that with like the album with Hash Pipe and
Yeah. So they were like okay, but the Beastie Boys put on a fucking show. They had like costume changes, and the 3 of them had like dance moves that obviously Yout choreographed.
Yeah.
And like they played everything. Like I think their set seemed like 2 hours. Like they played a bunch of new stuff off of Hello Nasty. Then they'd switch it up and like break out the instruments and play a hardcore song, and like they were fucking like on point. And I kind of, when they say that it's their favorite album, like I totally see it, because like they had, like we talked about it last episode, they had gone from like, being controlled to being let off the leash and going too far, to like bringing it back, and then to with ill communication, and then with Hello Nasty, like they like found their groove, like they found what they like to do, like they like being goofy. I mean, some of the like the videos, like what was the video for Intergalactic was like Japanese. It was guys in, it was like Godzilla stuff.
Yeah, it was like a Godzilla video.
Yeah,
I
that was
remember that.
bitchin'.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, like, I'm looking at the track listing right now. I forgot about 3 MCs and 1 DJ. That's a good one with
Yep.
DJ Hurricane. Remote Control, Body Moving was that was a party song for sure.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, they got it. It's a great album. And like I said, the only other album that I actually really know anything about was the next one that came out in 2004, To the Five Boroughs, because it was like pretty much Hello Nasty came out in 98, To the Five Boroughs came out in 2004. It was like highly anticipated, and I remember liking it, but I don't remember anything off of it.
Well, Check It Out was on there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That came out on Ill Communication, I thought.
Yeah, that must have been a remaster or something.
Maybe like a remaster, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. There's a song on there called "Hey Fuck You." I like that.
Yeah.
But so I thought this time we'd get away a little bit from the music, because like the music was awesome, but I thought we could just we could talk about Yout a little bit, because so as we know, he passed on in 2009, I believe.
2012.
Well, he died in 2012, but I think 2009 he was diagnosed
with cancer, right?
Yeah, I'm just looking at 2009, yeah, diagnosed with cancerous parotid gland and lymph node. And yeah, that was so in their book, Beastie Boys book, or Beastie Boys story or whatever, and Beastie Boys the documentary, which I think was Beastie Boys story, they talk about the last show, which actually I think I'm going to look up and read 1 second, because actually, so what's his face reads it in there, and I thought it was actually really poignant, because it makes it just makes sense, right? Where it is, god damn it, I wanted to actually find the text. Final show. No, I don't know. Well, anyways, in the book and the documentary,
I can find the text. What's it called?
It's just it's like, I think it's the chapter from the book is called the final show.
All right, carry on with the thing, and
Okay.
I'll get it.
Yeah,
for
find it and send it to me. So Ad Rock, Horowitz reads it on stage, and it's like, really, I mean, it brought me to tears. And it's just like, they were doing Bonnaroo, which is a big festival in Tennessee, I think. I've never been, but they were out shooting a video, I think with Spike Jonze or one of their regular directors. And after they did a show, and apparently, like, the reviews from the show, they fucking rocked it. Yao was diagnosed with cancer and they had to cancel their tour. And like the guys didn't know that, within 3 years he would be dead.
Yeah,
And like,
I remember it was just like quick. Like I remember
yeah,
hearing that he got cancer, and then next thing you know, like he had passed away. Which 3 years. If you're thinking about that
yeah,
every day is a long time. But I mean, it just seemed like it happened really
it
fast.
happened very quick.
Yeah,
It,
like I wasn't expecting I wasn't expecting that.
he was young too. I mean, he was 47. So like I
Yeah.
kind of like I remember hearing about it and I kind of figured like, he might be okay. He's,
Yeah, like
maybe
he
they
can get
caught it.
treatment. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Modern medicine, you
Yeah,
know,
all that. And he didn't seem to go to um Steve Jobs route of just eating avocados thinking it would cure his cancer. He did radiation therapy.
mhm.
Um and yeah, at the time Yout described the cancer as very treatable. And then he died in 2012. And this is something I like. He did leave in his last will and testament. Uh he left instructions that the music should not be used in advertising. Although the legal validity of that has been questioned, and some companies have like used their shit, I think, in their advertising and gotten like, not legally reamed, but sort of like socially reamed. It's okay. Can't find it. But um yeah, he basically I'm just looking at he just I remember this too vividly, like uh he really didn't want his shit to be to be used in, and I think the boys had talked about it. They didn't want to have their music exploited or used to sell other shit, in a capitalist way. And they had also talked about like, and they talk about this in the book and the documentary, like that when they found out about the diagnosis, they talked the three of them talked and were like, yeah, we're not gonna do the Beastie Boys without Adam Yauch,
Yeah.
which I it's sad. I'd love to see those two fucking play live, but I don't think they'll ever play live together again. Um, I think it's probably too too hard. Like
Well,
just from the documentary, they were still like that was filmed in 2019. They were still like grieving hard.
I
Yeah.
mean, just like listening to you guys talk about it, they never seemed like they were out there for the money. You know, they seemed
No,
like they were there to like have a good time with friends. So it would be
yeah.
completely understandable to put the gauntlet down after one of them dies. You know.
Absolutely. And like, yeah, even when they made money, they talked about it like they like when they signed to Capitol, they decided to as a joke, they changed managers and they were like, we got like the manager they got for themselves was Kenny Rogers' manager
Yeah.
because they thought it was funny. And they actually like at that time they're the people who were managing their money and their career mismanaged it all because their career they still thought their career was a joke.
I feel like the Beastie Boys run was less a joke on the Beastie Boys and more of them just playing a joke
What
on.
happened to Kirby? Say that again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you now.
No, I was saying that I feel like the run of the Beastie Boys was less a joke on the Beastie Boys themselves and more on like the music that they just
Absolutely.
played. You know.
Yeah, they just did what like, and they went through a phase where like they wanted to, they saw the fame when they were young and like went for it and then realized like quickly that like that wasn't what they wanted. And like when they came back together after the Def Jam years, like yeah, it was just like they were they were serious about music, but like the joke wasn't on them. They weren't the joke band anymore. They were playing a decades long joke on the music industry, which is, I appreciate that. That's like, I love disruption. I love that shit. And then they used it for good too, with like the Tibetan Feeder concert, and all of the charities, and uh even just like making amends for past transgressions in their music. Like, I'll never forget what Horowitz said in the documentary. It was like, he was talking about Yao. Yao had like put the line in, like, where he's apologizing to all the women, and like someone asked him, like, doesn't that seem a little bit hypocritical with like your previous lyrics? And he said, I'd rather be a hypocrite than a sexist.
Yeah.
Which, like, I love that. Like, that as to use a Yiddish term, they were all mensches. They were all good guys. And Yout seemed to be the mensch of them all. Like, they gave him the credit where credit was due. Um there was something else I was gonna say. Let's see. I also thought, like, just to touch on Yout a little bit more, like, what was the thing that Horowitz said? Oh yeah, Horowitz said, like, he had met the Dalai Lama, and when he asked him about it, he was like, "Yeah, he's a pretty funny guy." Like,
Well, wasn't he a Buddhist?
yeah, he became a Buddhist.
Yeah.
But like he didn't become a Buddhist like like in a cheap way. Like, he went to Tibet. He like
They did the
was like,
Tibetan Freedom concert too.
yeah. I think I said this last time. Like, that was my second concert. I'd seen the Rolling Stones with my dad, but then he took me to the Tibetan Freedom concert at the Polo Fields.
That's right. Yeah, you did talk about that.
Yeah,
That's
it was fucking
because
awesome.
Tibet should be free. Just throwing that out
Well,
there.
yeah. Well, of course. And at the time, like, there's less of, it's still not a free state, but at the time there was a lot. China was committing, a lot of atrocities there. They've sort of moved on to the Uyghurs, the Muslims that live in Western China. But like, it was a good cause, and they got a bunch of good bands to play, and it didn't seem like, I'm gonna say this. This actually might get us canceled. This statement. I fucking hate U2, and I fucking hate Bono. Because he's a fucking shill.
Next week we're doing Bono.
I'm
I'm not gonna be here next week.
I just look. A lot of people do like charity concerts or charity festivals, and it's kind of bullshit. But like, they actually had like Tibetan monks there. They had all the money, as far as I know, went. There was no question where that money went. There were like, nowadays, like, you kind of see, like, sometimes there's like, you'll see an audit of like charities and stuff, and you're like, man, 75% of their money goes to operations. And like, as far as I know, like, all that money went to the cause that they were pushing. My story about Bono. So my cousin, when he was at Berkeley, was in a band called the Urban Achievers, and they were not very good. And actually, the other guitarist's dad had told them, "You guys are the next Beatles," and all four of them were like, "Yeah, no, we're not." But they played a battle of the bands in Berkeley, and God, what was it? Like, one of like the I don't know if it was the prize or if Bono was supposed to be the MC or something, but Bono was supposed to have something to do with it. But the story goes is that he got off the plane, his private plane, in at San Francisco airport, and was told where the Battle of the Bands was and like how big it was, and immediately just went to his hotel because it wasn't big enough. Yeah, so I don't know. That's my Bono story. Um, I said the words "I hate Bono" and he's a shill to an ex-girlfriend of mine and her family, and it was like insulting the Pope in a Catholic house. Like,
Look,
they really liked you too.
Bono's bullshit, and I will stand behind that on my podcast.
I will too. You know what? I will too. It's just like, man, that I that was a long time ago. That was like 2003, and I remember I was in the car with them.
So it was before U2 put their album on my iPhone.
Yes,
Yes,
it
okay.
was before that.
Oh
Okay.
my god,
Motherfuckers!
I forgot
Those
about that. They kind of like forced
motherfuckers.
everybody to listen to their fucking album.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like Sony putting a fucking rootkit on all their CDs. I don't know if you remember that. But yeah, we were in the car, like the whole family, and we were driving home from something, and that family loved to drink, and the mom loved her pills, and the dad, there was just a mess, and was a total Hollywood trash family. I'm not gonna say who it is because I just called them Hollywood trash, but he was an agent, and agents really are like bottom feeders, and something came up about U2, or a song came on about U2, and I was like, man, I hate Bono. He's such a fucking shill. And the car went quiet. And Jesse, oh shit, I said her name. My ex-girlfriend nudged me, and she was like, "Did you just really say that?" And I was like, "What? Oh, what's wrong? It's just Bono." She's like, "My dad is gonna be really pissed." And about 10 minutes of silence later, he starts in on me about how awesome Bono is, and how much of a good guy he is, and how great U2 is, and how much of an idiot I am.
Did this guy have like nightly Bono listenings at his house? Was it just
Yes.
like,
Yes.
hold on, guys, it's 9 o'clock. We got to listen to the U2 album.
This is a guy. Okay. Okay. Beastie Boys, put on a break for a second. This is a guy that was a failed actor. If you want to ever see him in a movie, he had a one-line role in God, what's that movie with the prom and the blood? The horror movie.
Carrie.
He was in Carrie. He had a one line. He's the guy with the Jufro. He was a failed musician. And
what was the name of this guy's band? You don't have to say it. It's okay.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get to his later band. So he made his money by exploiting his children and became their agents. So the two older sisters were in very successful television shows. One of them wrote a whole book about her anorexia and how her mom gave it to her. So he, after getting success, he decided to go back and relive his dreams as a rock and roll rock star, all 5'1" of them. And oh God, I'm just gonna say it. His band was the Harry Gold Band, because his name's Harry Gold.
Oh my God.
And it was all musicians. Like, he paid to like play with him, and he'd pay to like.
So he named the band after himself.
Yeah,
And then he bought friends.
Yeah, and the shows were all like professional. Like, he paid he'd have shows at like a place in the valley. I can't remember the venue, but like he'd spend money on these shows, not make money from it. Like, people weren't paying a cover, and my ex would sing with him and stuff, and they just did covers. He had 2 original songs, and one song, oh God, it was so bad. Like, so yeah, his parents were Holocaust survivors, and he grew up in like the tenements in New York in the Lower East Side. And like, yeah, that's a pretty poignant kind of like thing. But the song was so like literal. Like there was no like poetry or like, similes or whatever. It was just literally about growing up in the I think it was called The Tenement. And like he just God, they're a
Even the
fine
fucking
family.
name was literal.
Yes.
This fucking
And
guy.
the way he introduced it as I grew up in the tenements, blah blah blah, and then the song was literally the lyrics of him introducing it. If you can kind of imagine that. God, fucking L.A. in the early 2000s was nuts for me.
Someone say this guy's like the Bono of failed musicians.
Actually, I do think he said that any proceeds he'd made from those shows would go to charity, but there was no proceeds.
Yeah, he was in the red.
It was in the red. And I had to go every fucking time we had to go. And every time, it was like, she would get up and she'd sing Paint It Black with her dad. And it was bad. She had a good voice, but like, it was bad. Oh man. And everyone there was like, they didn't say it out loud, but you kind of tell that they were like, oh God, this again? We got to do this again? Like, fuck. Gotta go to the Harry Gold Band again? And his rotating cast of characters? One of my favorite things was because he was an agent or whatever, like he represented all these actors. One time he was playing, I don't know if you guys remember Neelix from Star Trek, Voyager.
No, I didn't watch Voyager.
Okay, well he was heavily make-upped. But he played saxophone. And I can only imagine, I don't think he got paid, but I can only imagine he did that because his agent asked him to, and his agent is who gets him jobs. Which is, God. He also repped Hasselhoff for a little while, which I thought was fabulous.
The dude from Baywatch, right?
Yes. There's a picture of me out there somewhere in the back seat with him and my ex-girlfriend, and I swear to God, it looks like his head is 3 times bigger than both of ours. I don't know. It's not the angle. It's like his head really was that big. Like it was like alcoholic bloat.
Yeah.
He also repped William Shatner, which was cool.
He's from Star Trek.
Yeah, but he got William Shatner Boston Legal, which got him an Emmy. So, he was successful.
Didn't William Shatner also do Rescue 911? Do you remember that show?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
yes,
dude.
He did.
Yeah.
And he did. Yeah, man, he was the host of that.
Yeah.
He used to have I used to go to a yearly. Shatner had a charity event, and it was all equestrian themed. He really liked horses. That was really weird. Anyways, let's just wrap up the Beastie Boys, and we got to talk about some other stuff.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, like the majority of the research that I personally did for these past 2 episodes was from that Apple
Ditto.
The Apple documentary, Apple TV documentary, and Max has mentioned it a couple times, but it's really good. If you love the Beastie Boys or are looking for where we got the majority of the information that we've talked about, it was from that. So
and it's directed by Spike Jonze. So if you like Spike Jonze, like he produced, it's a theater production, so it's kind of, but like Spike talks a little in it, like he fucks up at one point.
It's good. There's some comedy. There's definitely some comedy in there.
There's a lot of comedy. Like it's towards the end when it got real serious, and they didn't even spend that much time on it. Most of it was the fun, which yeah, go out and watch it. And actually, while you're at it, go out and watch some of Spike Jonze's skate videos. Like, you know, Being John Malkovich was pretty good, but his skate videos are the pinnacle of skate videos.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. So, R.I.P. Adam Yout, died too soon. I love that the picture, every other picture of him, he's wearing his Bad Brain shirt that I'm sure he had for years. You know, it's just yeah, it happens. The best are taken too young. I hope someday that like Mike D and Adrock can, I don't know, do something. I would just love to see them together doing something. Maybe not Beastie Boys music, just something.
Something else, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, okay, so let's just I kind of, this podcast is, we play fast and loose with the rules. So I kind of wanted to just discuss like what we might have coming up next. And like we've talked about the Deftones. I've
Max,
talked about
Max actually came in and proposed this idea to me, and I was like, "You can't do that." And he was like, "I don't play by the rules. I'm a loose cannon podcaster on the edge."
well,
and then he slammed his badge on the desk.
Technically, it was more like, I'm sorry, Mr. Kirby. I cannot, in good conscience, abide by those rules that you have set down before me. I am a Southern gentleman, a dandy fop.
So we threw the rules out.
Yeah, we did.
Hey, so one thing I was thinking, since we're about to segue into like what's coming up, I listen to all sorts of podcasts on Apple Podcasts.
All right.
But one of the podcasts that I listen to, is a couple of guys. What they do is like if they get it's a small podcast, but if they get like a 5-star review or any review like on their podcast, they read the comment and at the beginning of their podcast,
Okay.
and they talk about, like, this person sent in this comment. They gave us a 5-star review. Here's what they said. I think it's
That's a
hold
good
on.
idea.
I need to reference this podcast. I need to give this podcast a shout out because that would be. So
Yeah.
it's called Metapod. It's actually a Pokemon card game podcast. I'm into all sorts of things, and this is one of
That's
the things
awesome.
that I listen to when I'm driving around. But these guys from Metapod, yeah, they do this thing at the beginning of every episode where they just read like somebody that sends in a review, and I just thought it was cool for, you know, not so much to inspire people to like give 5-star reviews, but to kind of like get the audience engaged, like.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Actually, I'm going to go even further with that. If anyone wants to give us a review on any platform that's 5 stars, because anything below 5 stars is just a kick in the nuts. And they have an idea that's musically related that doesn't suck, we'll do it.
Yeah, we need ideas for sure.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm
Max will take
running
you out
low.
to lunch.
I will. Anywhere. You want to go get steak, Ruth's Chris. You want to go get Chick-fil-A? We'll do Chick-fil-A. Whatever. If you're in the DC metro area. But yeah, I don't know, because I could come up with a ton of ideas, but who knows if they're going to be interesting. Like I said, I want to do like folk punk / anarcho punk.
Yeah,
and it's going to be cool, but like it's going to be
not a lot of material to go off there,
Yeah, I have a ton of shit, but like it is like deep YouTube cuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think we've talked about the Deftones. I think it's a great idea. Josh, you love the Deftones, correct?
Yes, yeah, I grew up on the Deftones for sure.
Fuck yeah. And I think Taylor proposed an idea of getting the Butcher on and talking about the DC punk scene and the
Yeah,
skate scene. I think that'd be cool.
that would be
I-
awesome.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
What's your idea, sir?
It's actually a really good band from New Zealand. That's kind of obscure. The
What's
Wiggles.
that? God damn it! Every time, every time. I would rather do Rush. No, actually, I'd rather do the Wiggles.
I
than
mean,
Rush.
it's better than you too.
Yeah.
Two chugga big red car.
I have been saying that I'll be cold and dead in the grave before we do Rush, but I'm gonna amend that and actually change it to we'll do Rush, but I'll be dead and in the grave before we do U2.
Well, I cannot make the Rush episode or the U2 episode,
Well,
unfortunately.
I know
So
Taylor's a big fan.
yeah, that'll have to be you guys.
Rush
Notice
is. I mean,
he didn't say anything about the Wiggles. I just want to throw that out there.
we can do the Wiggles. I just am not familiar with their catalog.
Me either, and I can't knock it till I've tried it.
And now, yeah, I can't make fun of it. Kirby, you got us. You got us. Painted us into a
Lawyered.
corner. But yeah, I think okay. So I'm gonna propose this. I'm sure it'll take some doing to get the butcher to do this. So let's put that on the back burner until we can convince him to do it. Let's do Deftones next because I've been talking about it and you've been talking about it. And
Yeah.
like I totally want to hear you talk about the Deftones.
And I've actually seen. I mean, I saw No Effects, but I've seen the Deftones a couple times.
Okay.
And you know, like growing up in bands and stuff, like we used to cover all their songs.
Of course.
You know, so yeah, that's definitely a good idea for me.
Yeah. So I actually think one direction we could possibly go in as well is like so I've come up with kind of the ideas so far, but like maybe we bounce it around. Maybe I'll do an episode, you do an episode. Like
Cool.
I think that might be a good idea. Because after Deftones, we'll do folk punk or anarcho punk, and I can just get us totally canceled with my leftist politics, and then you can pick something like we could do the Chili Peppers, dude. Seriously.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, all right, I think we have a plan of action. I'm glad we planned this out on the podcast live. That's how much we love you, our fans.
Hell yeah.
Now you can hold him to it.
Yeah, now you can hold us to it. I just want to plug something before we kind of wrap up. Ansley and I are going to Point Pleasant, West Virginia tomorrow. We're going to hunt for the Mothman Part 2. I only wish that my hetero life partner Kirby could be there with us.
Just make sure that if the ground is frozen, that you wear solid non-slip shoes and that you're holding on to something.
I don't know anything about that. You know, we still technically haven't done the other half of the Snarly Owl.
I have it cut. I just.
Well, I guess you're gonna have to fly back to Virginia.
It's
Yeah.
left. Listen, it is left in limbo on whether or not I'm alive.
Exactly.
That was like this time last year, wasn't it?
It
Yeah,
was.
actually, it was.
Exactly. Hopefully it won't be like balls cold in West Virginia, but I'm gonna go prepared. I wish that we could redo. So unfortunately, the tours don't pick up till March, so we're not even doing the tour. But we're gonna do the TNT fields and all that. And I have much better camera equipment and sound equipment this time. So Kirby, we might just like call you in on speakerphone to like have some fun.
And I'll make
Ghost-wise.
spooky noises.
Yes. And you know what? I'll pre de-beaver the bog. Like I'll bring an assault weapon and I'll just take out every fucking spot
Max?
in the bog I see.
Max is going beaver hunting. You know what I mean? Killing beavers in Point Pleasant. That's obviously what I was talking about.
With my girlfriend.
With his girlfriend. No relation.
But no, I got a bunch of like good equipment now, and I know how to record a video with sound that is actually like listenable. So we're gonna do that. I sent Josh an invite for him and his wife to maybe do a ghost hunt. I don't want to jump in too deep, but I will say that the Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum has an 8-hour night program you can do.
You
and
guys
it's
are gonna
very-
do ghost hunts? Oh
we
yeah.
might. Well,
Sounds fun.
Ansley really wants to do it. I really want to do it, and you know, Ansley and I both really like Josh Namey, so like,
Well then, fuck it. I'll pick it back up on my end and ghost hunt.
fuck yeah. I will say that Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is reasonably priced, but it is insanely haunted. Like a guy was killed there, like by two lunatics. Like he was not a violent lunatic, but he was lumped in with the violent lunatics in a room, and these two violent lunatics created a new set of sheets, threw it over a pipe, started pulling on him. Like he passed out, they'd let him up, pass out, let him up. Finally, they were like, "Oh, he's gonna tell the administration." So they put his head under a bedpost and then jumped on the bed and killed him.
Dude, you're taking your girlfriend from easy mode to hard mode. You're like
So-
fucking Elden Ring. Here's the first goddamn boss. All right, you killed that soldier. Now go fight Margit.
The only reason I say the Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is because it's bookable and reasonably priced.
And full of ghosts. Have fun with that.
And full of malicious ghosts. Like everyone from Jack Osborne to Zach Baggins has been like viciously attacked there.
So we are doing new auditions for My Brain is Hanging Upside Down when my two co-hosts fucking die. If
Or
you-
just come insanely haunted and attached with demons and things.
That might be a pretty dope podcast. Not gonna lie.
Ooh, exercise me, Kirby. Exercise me.
Whoa. let's not that kind of podcast.
All right. Well, anyways, I think we got a good game plan. Watch YouTube for The Mothman of Point Pleasant Part 2. And catch up and Monday. Is it Monday, Kirby? We're doing Crooked Murder?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a shout out on that, and also I'd like to do a shout out for our mod today, OniRam93.
Nice.
Go follow him on Twitch. He's a pretty dope dude, and he actually managed to do his job. And I don't mean it like that, but I mean like I saw a bot pop up offering followers and all that shit, and he deleted and banned them. So
Damn. That's a good mod.
OniRam93, go give him a follow.
That's a good mod. I like that. Good
Our
job.
mod was on it today.
Fuck yeah.
We are going to be back on Monday with another Crooked Murder episode. We will start our 4-part series of Roanoke. It's not going to be continuous, so you won't be super fucking tired of Roanoke by the end of it. It's going to be Roanoke followed by two topics that are closely related to Roanoke.
Yes.
And then the next month we're going to do Roanoke Part 2.
Yes.
Consider it basically the second season of our show.
Yep.
And we're coming back hard. We are coming hard, if you know what I mean.
Wow. We're going deep, aren't we? Deeper and deeper.
Deep and hard into
Ooh.
Roanoke.
All right. Well, I'm going to sign off just by saying, Mr. Josh, please join me in signing off of this beautiful podcast. I can't keep doing it. All right. Stay weird. I'm Murder.
I'm Jay Gazes. Have a good night, guys.
Night, everybody.
Well, I do declare, Mr. Dandy, that is quite the voice you got there. Oh, Jesus. I am Crook. I want you all to stay weird, and I'll be seeing you all in the next Roanoke episode.
All right.
Yes, my stars.
I'm uncomfortable. I'm leaving. Bye.
I know. All right. I got to go too. I got to pack cameras and shit.
All right, peace out, Max.
Later, dude. Thanks for doing this for me.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad my power came back on. All right, later, brah.
Peace.
Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you knew just what I was there for. You heard me saying a prayer for someone I really could care for. And then there suddenly appeared before me the only one my arms will ever hold. I heard somebody whisper